My fiancée went absolutely crazy chasing an idol just to meet him once. The famous star, Yi Dang-chung, even chartered an entire plane to cheer her on, while she ran all over the country pursuing him. The most ridiculous thing was that Yi Dang-chung even dared to run up to me and arrogantly ask, "What is that fiancé of hers anyway?" "What am I? I'm your daddy." It's been half a month since I last saw my fiancée, Lu Ruyen, but the rumors about her never stopped reaching my ears. Even when I stood by the roadside waiting for a car, I could hear people enthusiastically recounting her exploits in pursuing the idol. One person said, "Hey, have you heard? There was a fan so crazy before that she chartered a whole plane to cheer on her idol." The other replied, "You're just finding out now? Miss Lu from the Lu family had a spat with her boyfriend in a fit of pique. That's why she did it." The first person sighed, "Oh my God, the world has finally turned so upside down that I don't understand it anymore." I felt like an invisible hand had slapped me hard across the face. Closing my eyes, I tried to suppress the anger rising within me. The driver finally pulled up. Seeing my expression, he broke out in a cold sweat. I didn't bother to blame him for being late. My mind was only focused on Lu Ruyen. Today was a gathering organized by Chunze, inviting everyone in the industry for a meal. In the group chat, Chunze had repeatedly stressed that everyone must attend. Lu Ruyen didn't say anything, but also didn't refuse. I adjusted my expression and walked into the hotel. Although my heart was filled with displeasure, this matter had to wait until after the party. Lu Ruyen might be shameless, but I still had a bit of face left to save. Arriving at the door of the private room, I heard Shin Yu-chu's voice echoing from inside. He's an actor. He has to travel everywhere for filming. Yin keeps chasing him, flying back and forth. I heard she recently even had a fight with the brand side over endorsement money. Yin went to beg other brands to cooperate with him and even had a huge argument with her grandfather because of that man. She said things like she wouldn't care even if she was kicked out of the house. I pretended not to hear anything, pushed the door open with a cold expression, and walked in. As soon as she saw me, Shin Yu-chu immediately stopped talking, her lips trembling as she called out, "Chigu." I nodded in reply as a greeting. Today's gathering was just a small meeting between a few people in the industry. There were only 8 chairs in the private room. Chunze and Shin Yu-chu were already seated. On the sofa, for people were playing cards, only Lu Ruyen was missing. I exchanged a few words with Chunze when Lu Ruyen pushed the door open and entered. After half a month of not seeing her, she still maintained her usual appearance, noble and aloof. She sat down next to me, quietly helping me rinse my cup and plate, completely different from the deranged, fanatical appearance Shin Yu-chu had just described. I glanced at her, the anger in my heart eased a little, but unexpectedly, halfway through the meal, there was a knock on the room door. A person wearing a bear mascot costume walked in, his steps clumsy and quite amusing. The thick mascot head, a tight bouquet of fresh flowers clutched in his arms, and a glittering sign held high in his other hand. The sight was extremely eye-catching. As soon as he appeared, Lu Ruyen trembled slightly, her expression immediately changing, full of surprise. Shin Yu-chu was the first to speak. "Wow, what beautiful flowers. Hey, are you here to confess your love to me? But to pursue me, you don't need to give flowers, a room key card will do." I stayed silent. Although Shin Yu-chu spoke casually, she had actually never had a boyfriend, she just liked to joke around for fun. The person in the mascot costume seemed a little awkward, but his eyes were constantly staring at Lu Ruyen. His voice was hoarse as he said, "Today is our store's anniversary event. We randomly selected a girl to participate in the event, and this is the prize for the chosen person." As expected, Shin Yu-chu immediately fell silent. Chunze had been annoyed from the start. This was a gathering he organized, and yet an uninvited person showed up like this. He immediately pulled out his phone, intending to call the restaurant manager. Just as the atmosphere was about to become strained, Lu Ruyen suddenly stood up. She waved her hand lightly and said, "All right, I'll participate." After saying that, she didn't even glance at me and quickly followed the person out of the room. Everything happened too suddenly, and by the time everyone had a chance to react, the private room door was already shut. The room instantly fell into extreme silence, all eyes focused on me, waiting to see my reaction. I slowly picked up my chopsticks, took a piece of the pork knuckle, a dish no one had touched until now, and casually said, "This dish is quite good too." After I spoke, everyone in the room collectively sighed in relief, hurriedly chiming in, "That's right, this dish is delicious." Shin Yu-chu blinked, smiled, and said, "It really is. Chigo, eat a little more. If you like it, I can learn how to make it and cook it for you to taste next time." I put down my chopsticks and calmly replied, "The dish is good, but I don't like to eat it." The atmosphere again descended into an eerie silence. I no longer had the appetite to eat. I just left a single sentence, "I'm leaving first." Then I exited the private room. I called Lu Ruyin, but she immediately hung up on me. Right after that, a text message came through. The screen read, "Hubby, I have something urgent to attend to." I let out a faint chuckle. Something urgent? Is playing dress up with someone else considered an urgent matter? Lu Ruyin and I have known each other for 16 years. Calling us childhood sweethearts is no exaggeration. After we grew up, both families went with the flow and set up the engagement, which was originally a mutually beneficial arrangement. Lu Ruyin had never voiced any objection until now. Yet she pulled this stunt about finding her true love, which was truly an eyesore. I immediately called her grandfather, Old Man Lu, explaining the whole situation and exaggerating it slightly. Old Man Lu was so furious that he coughed repeatedly. I didn't see Lu Ruyin after that day. I only heard that she was severely scolded by her grandfather. All the resources she had thrown at that celebrity were completely retracted. Since then, the rumors between her and Yi Dang-chung were no longer spread outside. My family considered the result quite satisfactory, but unexpectedly, there was still someone who seemed dissatisfied. He came all the way to find me and pick a fight. Every month, I organize a party, both to strengthen relationships and to give everyone a chance to network. This month, the party was held on a yacht. I rarely look over the guest list. Everything is handled by my secretary. I didn't expect Lu Ruyin's lover to sneak his way in this time. There was a bar on the yacht. I was sitting with a few close brothers, watching the scantily clad girls dancing provocatively on stage. The girl was only about 20 years old. Even in this noisy atmosphere, the light in her eyes was still dazzlingly bright. Just as I was thoroughly enjoying the show, a tall, thin man walked over and blocked my view. He said, "Mr. G." As soon as I heard his voice, I immediately recognized him as the guy in the mascot costume from the other day. He looked down at me, his eyebrows tightly furrowed. His eyes clearly revealed contempt and mockery. I frowned and asked curtly, "What the hell are you? Can't you see you're blocking our way?" Chun-zae, who has a fiery temper, had been watching enthusiastically just a moment ago. He nearly kicked the guy somewhere else. The scornful voice rang out, "I am Yi Dang-chung." Chun-zae turned to look at me, his eyes seeming to ask, "Do you know him?" I shook my head slightly. Chun-zae glanced around again. After seeing everyone else shake their heads, he immediately jumped up, forcefully pushed Yi Dang-chung aside, and cursed directly. "Are you insane? What the hell is this? Security? Drag him out." In reality, Chun-zae didn't intend to actually strike him. He just gave a light push. But Yi Dang-chung was clearly not the type to be submissive. He strongly flung his hand away, pushing Chun-zae back, causing him to fall to the floor. I subtly rubbed my forehead. Although Chun-zae isn't a reckless person, he is one who holds grudges. This matter didn't look like it would end peacefully. Sure enough, my brothers around me all stood up. Chun-zae had even grabbed the wine bottle in his hand, ready to smash it down. Just then, Yi Dang-chung let out a disdainful laugh and said loudly, "Jibo da, if something happens to me on your turf today, Lu Ruyin will hate you for life." His voice was so confident it was arrogant, as if his words were the absolute truth. I nearly burst out laughing. I honestly didn't care much whether Lu Ruyin hated me or not, but I still raised my hand to stop Chun-zae. It wouldn't look good for him and Lu Ruyin to make enemies right here on my property. If there's really a grievance, we could wait until we got off the boat to settle it. Yi Dang-chung was clearly aiming straight for me. I advised Chun-zae and the other brothers to leave, and then turned to look at him. He was still standing there, half a head taller than me, with a slender build and a fair jade-like face. It was truly hard to imagine that Lu Ruyin liked this kind of person. Perhaps that's the idol filter that fans often talk about. He looked at me, enunciating every word. "Lu Ruyin doesn't like you." I laughed. And so, perhaps he didn't expect me to react so calmly. Yi Dang-chung was stunned, then immediately said sternly, "It's all because of you. It's because of you that Ruyin was scolded by her grandfather. That's why she's so miserable. You hurt Ruyin, and yet you can live so casually as if nothing happened." I looked straight into his eyes, every word clear. Everything that happened to Lu Ruyin can only be blamed on her being too despicable, having an affair, and even bringing it right to my doorstep. An adult must take responsibility for their choices. The two words, having an affair, instantly changed Yi Dengcheng's expression. His reaction was so intense that he almost jumped. You and Ru Yin only have a business engagement. Ru Yin is not having an affair. I laughed contemptuously. So, by your logic, a business marriage doesn't count as an affair? Are you speaking without thinking, or is there something wrong with your head? I raised an eyebrow, my voice cold. I advise you not to make yourself too ridiculous. If your teeth are gone and you still eat soft food, fine, but if you intend to act like a dog, you can only lick the leftovers. Yi Dengcheng's face alternated between green and red, his chest heaving with anger. I leaned back against the sofa, my gaze moving past him to the girl still dancing on the stage. Yi Dengcheng gnashed his teeth and said, I am a famous actor, relying on myself, with a 6-figure monthly income. I work harder than you. I'm more capable than you, and I'm better than you in every aspect. You're just a privileged brat born into a wealthy family, spending your days in debauchery, being arrogant and reckless. Only I deserve Ru Yin. I looked at his indignant face and suddenly burst out laughing. You are indeed not bad, but gold is scattered everywhere in Danan. If you're gold, that girl is also gold. As I spoke, I pointed toward the girl on stage, dancing under the dazzling lights. But I'm different. I own the entire gold mine. I didn't bother paying attention to his awful expression, continuing calmly. You don't need to pretend to stand up for her. If you genuinely want to defend her, then do it publicly. Say that a business engagement is not an affair, and that you too are true love. I smiled coldly. Why aren't you speaking anymore? Don't you dare? Afraid of losing everything you have, right? It seems you understand the situation quite well. I tilted my head, my voice mocking. Let's be blunt. You've only just had a glimpse of the light of the elite, and you're already desperate to latch onto it. But you found the wrong person. The talent you have, Lu Ru Yin also has, but in my eyes, affection isn't worth a dime. Power and money are not sexually transmitted diseases, and social class is inherently predetermined. The only reason you can stand here today is thanks to Lu Ru Yin's name. If Lu Ru Yin wasn't my fiancée, you wouldn't have the right to stand in front of me and talk. Yi Dengcheng's face was pale, his lips tightly pressed, his eyes filled with hatred and helplessness. I rarely utter such vicious words, but today I was truly exhausted and disgusted. Lu Ru Yin's lack of boundaries, constantly causing me to lose face, was enough to make me furious. Now, she even let her lover run up to me, arrogantly lecturing me on how to live. She finishes eating the rice in her bowl, puts it down, and then talks about true love. It's ridiculously funny. I stood up, lightly brushing off an imaginary layer of dust on my suit, and said indifferently, Mystery, do you see that license plate with 5/8? You've enjoyed that privilege before, haven't you? Lu Ru Yin probably hasn't told you. That car was the engagement gift from my family. The moment my words finished, all the arrogant confidence Yi Dengcheng had tried to maintain was completely crushed. The affair between him and Lu Ru Yin had caused a sensation throughout Danan. The two of them driving around the city in the car with a license plate 88888 made the whole city talk. A Qianjin, elite daughter, from a top influential family in Danan, for the sake of pursuing her idle dream, didn't hesitate to sacrifice money, reputation, and all self-respect to be madly in love with a male star. Outside speculation even suggested that Lu Ru Yin would sever ties with her family for Yi Dengcheng. But I knew very well that she wouldn't do it because she didn't have the courage. I walked out onto the deck. Although I had organized countless parties like this, the number of times I actually showed up in front of everyone could be counted on one hand. Typically, I would either stay in the cabin with a few close friends or catch up on sleep in my private quarters. Parties like these are not for entertainment, but for networking and maintaining influence. Even in a party I hosted, it wasn't easy to get me to make a respected appearance. I stopped by the large railing and said softly, Stop the ship. The first mate looked bewildered, clearly not understanding what was happening. I continued, Head back. Having said that, I turned and walked straight into the cabin. From start to finish, the eyes of the young masters and elite daughters around me were fixed on my every move. In fact, I could have simply sent a message to the captain without having to issue the order myself. But I did it deliberately to make my attitude clear to everyone. My fiancé has a lover who dared to openly come and provoke me on my own turf. if I still happily continued the party. Then what face would my G family have left? The next morning, the nanny knocked on my door and said that the Liu family's person had arrived. Before leaving, she intentionally added, "Madam said, it's fine if you want to come down a little later." I didn't reply, just lay down and went back to sleep. When I finally came downstairs, it was almost noon. There was a woman on the sofa. I narrowed my eyes. It wasn't Liu Ruyin, but her younger sister, Liu Ruoyun, the Liu family's illegitimate daughter. Seeing me come down, Liu Ruoyun immediately stood up, her voice meek. Mr. G, Sister Ruyin had something to do, so she left earlier. I showed no sign of displeasure, just sat down on the sofa and nodded indifferently. Seeing that I didn't say anything further, Liu Ruyin tentatively moved closer, her voice so soft as if afraid I wouldn't hear. "My sister really is something. I heard a friend asked her out for a meal, and she rushed off right away. Mr. G, please don't be angry with her." I gave a faint smile and changed the subject. "Miss Liu, you've been waiting for so long. Would you like to stay for lunch?" Upon hearing this, Liu Ruoyan nodded eagerly. I stood up and instructed the servant nearby. "Ask Miss Liu what she likes, and take her to eat. I have something to attend to. Please make yourself comfortable." With that, I gave a slight nod and walked straight past her. Liu Ruoyan's expression must have been very unpleasant at that moment, but I didn't care. In this political marriage, both Liu Ruyin and the Liu family have been ruled out of the game. In Danan, there are only a few truly powerful families. When the engagement was set, Liu Ruyin was once the best choice. The Liu family had deep-seated influence and a strict upbringing. But just half a year after the engagement, the Liu family brought back an older illegitimate son, Liu Ruoji, and a younger daughter, who was Liu Ruoyun. Since then, the marriage of her parents fell apart, and their scandals gradually came to light. Once the meticulously raised daughter of the main wife, Liu Ruyin began to fall into a difficult position within her own family. At that point, she was no longer the optimal choice. However, my family had still not intended to cancel the engagement until today, when Liu Ruyin abandoned me, leaving Liu Ruoyun sitting there. She knew I would never spare a thought for Liu Ruoyun, so in her confusion, she had left her sister behind as a form of explanation. But that explanation was unacceptable to me, and even more so to my parents and my sister. Just as I was having my afternoon tea, the news about the official annulment of the engagement between the Ji and Liu families had spread across social media. I didn't need to show my face. My parents had done it very quickly and efficiently. The press release was a full page long, officially declaring that despite the annulment, the two families would remain business partners. However, the implicit message behind it clearly stated the reason for ending the engagement. Immediately, the entertainment media flipped through every story between Liu Ruyin and Yi Dangcheng, digging down to the root. Some people cursed them, but there were also quite a few who hailed their story as true love transcending class barriers. I took out my phone, opened a post titled "Liu Family's Elite Daughter Charters a Playing a Cheer for Yi Dangcheng. Sponsoring an idol is a new big female protagonist model," and showed it to my brothers. I smiled, my voice refined. If I recall correctly, she was my fiancée, wasn't she? Having an affair is also called a big female protagonist? My friends looked at each other. Chunze scratched his head and forced a smile. Their perspective is bigger than right or wrong. "Brother, what did people say? Never participate in any attack aimed at women." That's essentially it, a ridiculous stance that lets emotion cloud what's right and wrong. And yet, ironically, the people in that story proved that point to me themselves. They, Liu Ruyin and Yi Dangcheng, brazenly appeared right at my house. Liu Ruyin looked quite haggard, while Yi Dangcheng stood in front of her, as if protecting her. The person who led them in was Liu Ruyan's mother. I raised an eyebrow slightly, wondering, what kind of act are they planning this time? My mother sat on a chair, holding a teacup, her expression cold, not bothering to say a word. In contrast, Liu Ruyan's mother smiled brightly, looking extremely gracious. I forgot to mention, she and I have never gotten along. Not because of any major conflict, but simply because I couldn't stand the kind of psychological manipulation she often employed. Especially after the scandal within the Liu family was exposed, her hostility toward me became even more apparent. She smiled and said, "Wada, long time no see. You were such an immature boy back then, but now, looking at you, you are becoming more and more promising." She paused for a moment and then continued, her voice full of innuendo. "It's just that if you could mature a little more, be a little more generous, know how to give and sacrifice more, then it would be easier for a girl to love you, wouldn't it? A chung. The two words, a girl to love, had barely left her mouth when my expression instantly darkened. I had to try hard to restrain myself from exploding on the spot. The next second, my mother slammed her teacup down on the table. The precious Etienne jade cup couldn't withstand the impact and shattered into fragments. Madame Liu, that is enough. My mother's voice rang out, cold and decisive. Lu Ruyan's mother was an actress in her youth. Perhaps the gene for chaotic romance in the Liu family originated there. In the past, despite the family's opposition, Mr. Liu insisted on marrying her. But unexpectedly, not long after the marriage, Mr. Liu started seeking out other women, even bringing home 2 illegitimate children. Perhaps because her youthful love was too passionate, she completely collapsed when betrayed. A person who once lived by love had nothing left when it was gone. From then on, her temperament changed entirely, as if the whole world owed her. She hated anyone who was doing better than her, and my family lived too peacefully, deepening the envy in her heart. When the two families became in-laws, people often compare my mother to her, which only compounded her resentment and hatred. Yi Deng-chung seemed oblivious to the atmosphere in the room and even chimed in, "Auntie is absolutely right. Men must have vision and magnanimity." Before he could finish his sentence, my mother grabbed the teapot and slammed it hard down right by his foot. Hot tea, tea leaves, and porcelain fragments scattered, splashing onto his shoes. My mother roared, her voice icy. "What are you to dare stand in my house and lecture me on how to live?" The living room fell silent for a moment. I heard a door open upstairs, and not long after, my older sister appeared on the second-floor railing. She stood there silently, looking down, her gaze as sharp as a knife. The scene in the room was truly unsightly. Yi Deng-chung was so startled he was frozen, not daring to speak. Lu Ruyan gently closed her eyes, while her mother's face turned pale from my mother's words, a mixture of anger and embarrassment. A moment later, Lu Ruyan spoke, her voice low but striving to remain calm. "Auntie, I came today to apologize. It is my fault. You watched me grow up from a child. I have always considered Jibo Da as my older brother. That she could maintain such a composed demeanor in that situation truly proved she was worthy of being a meticulously trained daughter of a wealthy family." But as soon as she finished speaking, a scornful laugh rang out from upstairs. My sister smiled coldly. "Our family doesn't lack sworn younger sisters. Do you plan to rely on the G family for the rest of your life? If you sincerely want to apologize, show some sincerity." Lu Ruyan looked up, her eyes darkening. She gave a faint smile. "Then next quarter, Leosher Digital will postpone the launch of its new product for half a month." I silently observed her, assessing her offer, saying nothing. She was looking up at my sister, but I felt my sister's eyes were constantly resting on me. Seeing my lack of reaction, my sister curled her lips slightly and said slowly, "Not enough." The room fell silent again. I was starting to lose patience when Lu Ruyan spoke once more. "The project at the end of this month, the Lu family will withdraw." I raised an eyebrow slightly, giving a faint smile. The Lu family is truly generous. With that, I leaned back against the chair, my gaze calm as if none of this concerned me. Looking at the shameless woman's brazen appearance, I said coldly, "Since your mother brought you here to apologize, then start. Don't waste any more time." Lu Ruyan stood up. Madame Liu reluctantly followed suit, but Yi Deng-chung refused. He gritted his teeth, his voice full of indignation. "Jibo Da, don't push your luck. Ruyan has compromised this much. What more do you want?" I faintly curved my lips, smiling mockingly. "If you don't want to, then you're welcome to leave." Lu Ruyan quickly pulled Yi Deng-chung's sleeve, speaking softly. "Chingu, stop talking." Yi Deng-chung sighed and stood up. At this point, Lu Ruyan stepped forward, standing directly in front of me. Madame Liu and Yi Deng-chung both bowed their head along with her to offer their apologies. Nothing could have been funnier, yet I couldn't bring myself to laugh. Perhaps I had overestimated Yi Deng-chung and Lu Ruyan. I had also forgotten how terrifyingly powerful the brain and love can be. He probably thought that as long as he bowed his head, apologized, and offered a few things as compensation, everything would be wiped clean. I thought to myself, if love is so important, then losing a few things must not matter. When the entire Lu group left, Yi Deng-chung was the last to walk out. Before leaving, he turned back, glared at me, and said, "I will remember today's humiliation forever." I replied indifferently, If you can remember it for a lifetime, then your memory is not bad. After that, Lu Ruyin and I reached an agreement. The Ji family would not make things difficult for her, so she could peacefully resolve the conflicts within her family with that pair of illegitimate siblings. But even without my involvement, without the backing of my family, Lu Ruyin couldn't gain an advantage over those illegitimate children. I heard that after the annulment, old man Lu was completely disappointed in her. That makes sense. First the idol chasing, then the annulment. No matter how much he loved her, he couldn't endure being embarrassed repeatedly like this. Meanwhile, Yi Dangcheng was absolutely ecstatic. For a time, he became highly famous in the industry. Everyone knew he was about to marry the Lu family's Qianjin, Lu Ruyin, and I had been turned into a joke. Of course, no one dared to show in front of me, but behind my back, they must have been laughing until their hands shook. This was the first time in many years that someone had dared to mock me. Yi Dangcheng was clearly trying to provoke me intentionally, but he unexpectedly ran into Chunzhe, my close brother. It was Chunzhe who had arranged everything. Today, Chunzhe said he had invited the dancer from the other day to perform. I was also a little curious about that girl. Her eyes had left an impression on me, but as soon as I arrived, I saw Yi Dangcheng in a neat suit. Surrounding him was a group of people, all gathered around, laughing and chatting loudly, and he sat in the middle, looking incredibly smug. I was still considering whether I should leave or not when a hand rested on my shoulder. Chunzhe leaned in and whispered in my ear, "Brother, I'm going to get revenge for you today." I frowned. I intended to tell him not to do anything foolish, but before I could open my mouth, Chunzhe quickly grabbed a bottle of champagne, shook it vigorously a few times, and then laughed loudly. "Good evening, everyone. Tonight, the male lead of the chartered plane cheering saga, Yi Dangcheng, has graced us with his presence. Let's give him a warm welcome." His voice was so loud that all attention in the bar immediately shifted to that area. In the dim light, Yi Dangcheng's expression instantly darkened. Aside from Chunzhe, no one dared to applaud. Only a few scattered whispers and light laughter spread throughout the place. Chunzhe shrugged and smiled. "No one cheering? Then let me welcome Mr. Yi on everyone's behalf." He sneered, raised the champagne bottle, and aimed straight at Yi Dangcheng. Smash! The sound of the cork popping echoed loudly, immediately followed by Yi Dangcheng's miserable shriek. A stream of champagne sprayed directly into his face, splattering all over him. In an instant, his hair and clothes were soaked, leaving him looking as pitiful as a dog that had fallen into the water. Chunzhe burst out laughing. Why the stunned faces? Come on, applaud. The people around, trying to hold back their laughter, suddenly erupted in applause, making the atmosphere ridiculously chaotic. I couldn't be bothered to intervene in this matter. It was clearly Chunzhe's prank, completely unrelated to me. But his insistence on dragging me into it kept me from enjoying myself. Not wanting to stay there any longer, I turned to leave. But just as I took 2 steps, a sharp cry suddenly rang out from behind, followed by the sound of breaking glass and the pungent smell of blood. I spun back, just as the person who was struck fell down. In that instant, I lunged forward to catch her. When I looked down, I saw a familiar pair of eyes, bright as if holding starlight. The owner of those eyes pressed her lips together, slightly curving the corner of her mouth, revealing a small, lovely dimple on her cheek. As I carried her into the car, I still couldn't understand what was going through Yi Dangcheng's mind. The one who provoked him was Chunzhe, so why did he direct his hatred toward me? If Du Wei hadn't rushed forward in time, if Du Wei hadn't dashed in, perhaps the person whose head was smashed that night would have been me. Thinking about this, I still couldn't grasp whether Yi Dangcheng knew the price he would pay if he had genuinely dared to hit me. Du Wei was rushed into the operating room for stitches, and I sat in the waiting area. Before long, my parents and Chunzhe's older brother arrived. My mother checked me from head to toe to see if I was injured anywhere. Only when she was certain I only had a slight scrape did she breathe a sigh of relief. Chunzhe's brother also hurriedly apologized. I didn't even need to call them. How could they not know about such a huge commotion? The news had spread throughout Dannan in a short time. Chunzhe was the troublemaker, so his brother had to personally come to explain. Even though I wasn't hurt, the root cause was still Chunzhe. As for the real culprits, Yi Dangcheng and Chunzhe were both taken to the police station. For people like us, such incidents are usually settled privately, unless they genuinely go to court. But my mother told me that Lu Ruyin had rushed to find Yi Dangcheng. Even someone so blinded by love couldn't help but be angry with him this time. right when the illegitimate siblings were plotting to seize power in the Liu family. She had caused even more chaos. Du Wei, on the other hand, adamantly refused a private settlement. She wanted to sue Yi Deng Chung all the way. I agreed with this approach, which is why I didn't show up in court at all. That day, I quietly made arrangements to take Du Wei, who had just finished getting stitches, to fly with me to Qatar. After all, she was injured on my behalf. I had a responsibility to take care of her. A month later, I returned to China. Unexpectedly, right at the airport, I ran into Liu Ruyin and Yi Deng Chung. The feeling was as if the two of them were vengeful ghosts haunting me. Danan is so big, yet we could meet so coincidentally. It was ridiculously funny. Both of them looked like they were there to pick someone up. Liu Ruyan's eyes unintentionally lingered on Du Wei's hand, which was holding onto mine. I glanced at her, thinking to myself, setting aside the aura of money and fame. Du Wei was in no way inferior to Liu Ruyan. In fact, she was younger, more captivating, and full of life. As for Yi Deng Chung, when he saw me, his expression immediately changed. His eyes were ablaze, as if he saw the man who murdered his father. He roared, intending to rush over, but was stopped by Liu Ruyan. Even so, he still gritted his teeth and shouted, "Ji Bua Da, you despicable, shameless bastard. If you're so great, face me and fight one-on-one. So what if you were born with a silver spoon? You're nothing but a useless parasite who only knows how to rely on others, always using dirty tricks behind people's backs. And you think that's skill?" He then sneered, his voice mocking. "You think you're so noble? Let me tell you, Ruyin told me long ago that she only saw you as a tool and never genuinely intended to marry you. Even if she had to go through with the business marriage, she would choose to have a child with me and then let you raise it for her." Liu Ruyan's face turned beet red, ashamed and furious. As for Yi Deng Chung, the former idol, he was now no different from a clown frantically struggling in the mire he himself created. I gave a faint laugh, my voice frigid. "Yi Deng Chung, you are inexperienced and don't understand the rules of this life. Not everyone is as despicable as Liu Ruyin, living by holding out their hand and begging others for food, then daring to turn back and insult the cook. If you and she truly have a brain, try to figure out who is the tool in this business marriage. Is it me or is it her?" I took one step forward, my voice low but every word cutting like a knife. "Remember this. I only do business, I don't talk about feelings. Let me offer you a piece of advice. A dog that licks until the end will only be left with the bones." Yi Deng Cheng's face turned pale, then flushed red with anger. Liu Ruyin bit her lip, not saying a word. I knew he wouldn't believe me, because in the eyes of someone in love, reason has no place. Power makes people intoxicated, but love makes people even blinder than power. He is currently out on bail, awaiting trial, required to report to the police station daily. I couldn't be bothered to pay attention. I simply held Du Wei's hand and walked straight out. As I walked past Liu Ruyin, her soft voice sounded from behind. "Chiga, are you doing well lately?" I froze. Even when we hadn't seen each other for half a year in the past, she had never asked me how I was doing. I turned back to look at her, my eyes icy, and slowly uttered a few words, "Go die." After saying that, I pulled Du Wei's hand and turned to leave. Behind me, Yi Deng Cheng's angry roar erupted. "You cheap woman, you're nothing but trash." Initially, I had planned to stay in Qatar longer, to rest for a while, but my sister sent me a message saying that the civil war in the Liu family was entering its most intense phase. She said I should return and use this opportunity to add a small fire. My people have always been monitoring the situation in the Liu family. Currently, Liu Ruyin is supported by Old Man Liu and some collateral branches. Meanwhile, the illegitimate siblings Liu Ruoji and Liu Riyun stand on the side of Mr. Liu, the father. They have begun to lobby and bribe in all sorts of ways. Their tactics are no longer limited. At the moment, a strange balance is being maintained within the Liu family. Everyone is on edge, but no one has dared to strike first. As for me, if I throw this bundle of firewood into the fire, the flames will certainly erupt more fiercely. I still hold the position of CEO of Kaihang, a company I built myself. In recent years, Kaihang has developed quite well, but compared to the leading conglomerates, there is still a gap. Nevertheless, I am prepared to bet the entire value of Kaihang to support the illegitimate siblings, Liu Ruoji and Liu Ruoyun. On the very day that news spread, the phones in my house rang nonstop. The Ji and Lu families are both leading forces in the industry, so other companies immediately rushed to inquire, wanting to know if we were truly switching sides. My parents had already left to avoid the commotion, leaving only a few servants manning the switchboard at home. I heard that Lu Ruyin had sought out my older sister, but she left less than half an hour later with a darkened face. Without even hearing it, I could guess what they talked about. My sister must have given vague replies, saying she wasn't sure what Wada's intentions were. In fact, for a long time, there have been many who wanted to meddle in the internal conflict of the Lu family, but no one dared to openly pick a side. Choosing the wrong side means seeking one's own demise, and retaliation could wipe out an entire business. As for me, the first person to openly fire a shot, my move immediately caused a wave of companies to follow suit, making the battle within the Lu Corporation even more chaotic. Old man Lu wanted to end the civil war, but now the arrow has left the bow and cannot be recalled. Everyone in the industry knows that Lu Ruoji is greedy, lustful, and incompetent, and Lu Ruyun is shallow and reckless in her actions. But no one genuinely wants the Lu family to become stronger. Everyone has their own agenda. After half a month of fierce fighting, the two illegitimate siblings gradually gained the upper hand, almost overwhelming Lu Ruyin. That's when I knew the time was ripe. I leaked the news online that Yi Dangcheng had brutally struck Du Wei with a wine bottle. At this time, Du Wei is hugely popular, possessing a massive and extremely passionate fan base. Combined with a previously sensational romance between Yi Dangcheng and Lu Ruyin, everything was dug up to the root in just half an hour. Netizens were furious, cursing everywhere. Before they could even implement a media recovery plan, Lu Corporation's stock plummeted relentlessly. I didn't expect Du Wei's fan power to be so strong. It was truly more terrifying than I imagined. As I was watching the news report of Lu Ruyin and Yi Dangcheng being pushed to the top of the hot search by fans, the person in my arms pouted slightly and said in a spoiled voice, "Hubby, you can't take advantage of me like this. I need to be compensated." Du Wei at this moment looked no different from a little fox spirit, seductive to the bone. The subtle tattoo on her temple made her even more captivating, her bright eyes both moist and slightly intoxicated. Those eyes were full of adoration and dependence, though I wasn't sure how much was genuine feeling, but I didn't care. I gently rubbed my aching lower back and laughed. Ah, to be young. After that, I secured 2 female lead roles for Du Wei in new films. She was happy, and so was I. Du Wei is a smart girl. She never once claimed to be my girlfriend. She just enjoys playing around a bit, and other than that, everything about her satisfies me. Meanwhile, Lu Ruyin's reputation had collapsed because of Yi Dangcheng's incident, and she was cornered step by step by the 2 illegitimate siblings. Under the pressure of public opinion, old man Lu was finally forced to abandon her. Lu Ruoji was officially chosen as the heir. As soon as Lu Ruoji took power, Lu Ruoyin immediately began clearing out Lu Ruyin's remnants within the corporation. This move was risky, but was the right decision in the long run. The idea was mine. In a short time, the Lu Corporation was in chaos everywhere. Many high-level managers loyal to Lu Ruyin were expelled in a state of extreme humiliation. Old man Lu was so angry he became ill, while the 2 siblings, Lu Ruoji and Lu Ruoyun, grew more arrogant by the day. Power came too easily, making them think they held the world in their hands, indulging in reckless spending and limitless extravagance. But the fun didn't last long. Soon after, Lu Ruoji was accused of promiscuity in the office, and Lu Ruoyun was charged with public fund embezzlement. Both were taken away by the investigative agency. When I heard this news, I nearly choked on my water. I couldn't help but laugh. Truly, 2 lumps of mud that couldn't be supported. My sister handed me a tissue and said, "Lu Ruyin has completely failed. Wada, you should stop now." I curved my lips slightly, smiling. "Sister, this game has just begun." My sister was stunned. The woman who was usually so calm and aloof revealed a look of surprise, mixed with fear for the first time. She blinked and asked softly, "Are you really going to do it?" She thought I was only taking revenge on Lu Ruyin. No one knew my true thoughts. Even my sister only vaguely guessed at my ambition, but never thought I would drag the entire Lu family down into the abyss. I leaned back in my chair, gently stretching my shoulders, and gave a faint smile. "You underestimate me. From the beginning, I never wanted to marry Lu Ruyin, but some things you can't avoid just because you don't want to. I paused, my voice deepening. The business marriage with her was merely the first step in my ultimate benefit plan. But whether I can completely kick the Lu Corporation off the board is a different matter. Before Kai Hang officially led the counterattack, I had my people collect all the Lu family scandals and leak them as if money were no object. News of old man Lu falling into a coma and Mr. Liu, the father, losing his capacity to run the business spread everywhere, causing an uproar. In the end, they had no choice but to call Lu Ruyin back to save the situation. But by this time, the entire senior management of the Lu Corporation was made up of Lu Ruoji and Lu Ruoyun's people. Even if Lu Ruyin returned, she couldn't turn the tide. She was sidelined, her voice counting for nothing. 3 days later, the Lu Corporation's stock continuously plummeted. During those 3 days, Mr. Liu and Lu Ruyin barely slept, scrambling to find a way to save the company. But all was in vain. They were finally left with one option: amputate the necrotic part to save a life, shrinking the company's size by more than half. Despite the heavy losses, the Lu Corporation temporarily survived. Everyone in the industry knew that the Lu family would never be able to recover from this. In the business world, there are no friends, only interests. Now, the Lu Corporation was nothing more than a piece of fatty meat, just waiting to be torn apart by others. And I was the one who took the biggest bite. On the day I secured control of the crucial project, my father hosted a celebration feast at the company headquarters. All employees were given the day off. Thousands of people stood up and applauded in congratulations. Since the founding of the G Corporation, no one had ever been honored like this. Perhaps there are only a few truly memorable moments in a person's life, and my moment was definitely not the time I said, "I do," under the witness of a pastor in a church. After the party, my father gifted me a new Rolls Royce. I already had a few in my garage, but this one was especially sleek black, bearing the Dannon license plate 8888. How should I put it? Luxury cars, of course, must be driven by oneself, and the best things, naturally, can only be kept for oneself. I don't need a coalition of power. I am enough by myself. I love power, I love money, but I love the feeling of success even more. The feeling of standing at the peak, looking down at the entire world, drives me into a crazy obsession. How could a man like me be entangled in trivial, mediocre romantic affairs? Of course, except for a few hopeless fools whose brains are clouded by love. That day at a charity auction, I met Lu Ru Shui, Lu Ruyan's older sister. She had been living abroad for many years. Before the Lu family's downfall, Lu Ru Shui was a renowned noblewoman. Her maiden family was illustrious, and her husband's family held power. But after the collapse of the Lu Corporation, she had no choice but to return home. When we met again, her cheeks were sunken, the dark circles under her eyes so thick they couldn't be concealed, and fine wrinkles covered the corners of her eyes. Barely 35 or 36, yet she looked withered, clearly having endured considerable hardship over the past year. Although the Lu Corporation is now barely surviving, with fewer than 100 employees, the fact that it has held on until now is largely thanks to Lu Rushui's efforts. Perhaps my gaze was too direct. Lu Rushui turned around, and our eyes met. I saw her hand clenched tight, veins prominent on the back of her hand. Suddenly, I was intrigued. I handed my auction paddle to Du Yu Wei, told her to sit on the side, and vacated the empty seat next to Lu Rushui. When she saw me blatantly sitting down next to her, Lu Rushui paused, her eyes full of wariness and coldness. She must be the last person who wanted to see me here. Setting aside the fact that I was the one who crushed the Lu family, the current distance between us was enough to make her grit her teeth in enduring pain for a lifetime. I leaned back and asked slowly, my voice sounding half-joking, "Eldest miss, how's life been lately?" Lu Rushui's voice was low, carrying a slight tremor of anger. "Don't call me sister." She raised her head, her chin slightly upturned, her eyes deliberately avoiding mine, her posture as proud as before. I smiled faintly. "That's right, I shouldn't call you sister. After all, your status now," I surveyed her from head to toe, giving a cold smile, "is no longer worthy." The sentence made her tremble with anger. She immediately jumped up, her voice snapping. "Even if I've fallen on hard times, I am still the daughter-in-law of the Sun family." Lu Rushui lost her composure, pointing at my face and shouting in fury. I glanced over and saw the somber look of her husband, Sun Sherbing, his gaze both evasive and annoyed. I simply shrugged with a faint smile and casually returned to my seat, as if I had just watched a mundane comedy. Only Lu Ru Shui remained standing there, becoming the focal point of the crowd. To remove a weed, you must pull it out by the root. She couldn't protect the Lu family, and I would never allow her the chance to do so. The conversation between her and me was merely a brief interlude in the party. Afterward, I continuously raised my auction paddle, increasing the bid price each time. Finally, a jade plaque was purchased by me for tens of millions. The very next day, the media again went into a frenzy with reports. The major headline on entertainment pages read, "Young Master Ji spends lavishly on girlfriend Due." Countless people online praised us, hailing our beautiful fairy tale love. I only found it amusing. The scene reminded me of that year when Lu Ru Yin chartered an entire plane to cheer for Yi Dangcheng. At that time, the two of them were also lauded to the heavens, praised as a great love between a mortal and an idol. Thinking back now, I only feel bored. I pulled out my phone and called Due. As soon as the other side picked up, I said directly, "Don't contact me anymore." There was a long silence on the other end, only the sound of light breathing. Then, she calmly replied with one sentence, "Director Gui's new film, I will be the female lead." Epilogue. 2 days later, the Lu Corporation officially declared bankruptcy. My Rolls-Royce, bearing the Dannon license plate 8888, stopped right in front of their company entrance. The once glorious high-rise building was now reduced to a single, small office, so cramped it looked more like a street-front store than a corporate headquarters. Lu Ruyin and Yi Dangcheng were both inside, both hanging their heads dejectedly, their appearance miserable and pathetic. The woman who was once Dannon's most prestigious Qianjin, the man who was once a celebrity adored by millions of fans, were now utterly defeated, desolate, with no trace of their former glory remaining. I don't know why, but looking at the scene sparked a strange feeling, a slight heaviness, a touch of brokenness, but it only flashed momentarily. Then I laughed. I laughed for my past humiliation, laughed for Lu Ru Yin who had personally shattered the card in her hand, and laughed at the thing called love brain that is more toxic than any narcotic. I am inherently vengeful. Anyone who dares to touch me, even slightly, will be repaid 100-fold, 1,000-fold. The driver opened the car door, and I stepped out. Under the dazzling sunlight, my eyes felt a little sore, unaccustomed to such bright light. I pushed the glass door and walked in. The first person to see me was Lu Ruyin. She wore a white silk shirt and a short black skirt. Her skin was sallow, and her face had lost its former radiance, now looking pale and lifeless. Yi Dangcheng looked slightly better. A white shirt, black trousers, still maintaining a semblance of neatness. I heard he had quit acting, pouring all his money and career into compensating Lu Ruyin, even explicitly noting it in a ledger. Unconditional gift. The man who once declared himself to be true gold, who once stood haughtily before me on the yacht, was now just a bowed head, weakly flattering figure. Seeing me appear, Dangcheng immediately straightened up, as if trying to reclaim what little dignity he had left. He roared, "What the hell are you doing here?" I merely smiled, looking directly at Lu Ruyin. For some reason, she walked toward me, her voice soft and trembling. "Chiga, I have goosebumps." I frowned, taking 2 steps back, but Lu Ruyin didn't understand, continuing to advance. "Chiga, I saw the news that you and Due broke up." I froze, a giant question mark forming in my head. Is she possessed? Yi Dangcheng's face instantly changed color when he heard this. Losing his composure, he immediately grabbed her arm tightly. He pulled so hard that the white silk shirt tore right there, the fabric flying out. I sighed. Yi Dangcheng screamed, "What are you saying? Do you want to go back to him? Look at yourself. Are you still worthy?" He gritted his teeth, his eyes bloodshot. "Because of you, I've worked myself ragged for 2 years without a single day off, and all my savings went to you. And you still haven't agreed to marry me. Don't think I don't know. You and your mother are planning to reel in another rich guy." Yi Dangcheng was known for his temper and great strength. When he went mad, no one could stop him. In just a few seconds, he had ripped the clothes on Lu Ruyin's body to shreds. In the eyes of everyone in the office, Lu Ruyin blushed, her hands trembling as she tried to cover her body, but she couldn't match his frenzy. Soon, she was left with only tattered scraps of fabric, barely covering anything. Then, just as Yi Dangcheng continued his rampage, Lu Ruyin suddenly raised her hand and slapped him directly across the face. Smack! The sound of the slap echoed loudly. Her hair disheveled, her eyes bloodshot, she screamed hysterically. If it weren't for you, would I be like this? You bastard. The scene left me stunned. Wasn't this the couple that was once madly in love, unafraid of the world? Is this what they become? I quietly turned and left that shabby company, quickly walking to my car. Before leaving, I conveniently called the police. Before coming here, I had thought I would stand before Lu Ruyin, head held high, and say, your family's generational wealth, all those years of effort, have turned to dust. Lu Ruyin, you've lost everything. But now, seeing her state, I merely smiled faintly and thought to myself, forget it. Being here was truly unnecessary.